Hello, everyone. This is JVL here with my best friend, Sarah Longwell, publisher of the Bulwark. I'll do the head bop. Bop, bop, bop. Happy Friday, Sarah. I am coming to you from my North Kakalaki satellite office. I haven't decorated it yet. That's okay.
When we were doing TNL, I was like, JVL, are you in a hostage situation? You were just like, I'm not in a hostage situation.
I didn't mean it. This was a very hard week for me with reentry. I would say after a week of literally nothing. I didn't check my email once.
I didn't hear from you for a week. It was so weird.
Yeah, it was not having Donald Trump in my head for 9 days was amazing. And I am looking forward to the point in our lives when that can be a permanent thing.
I, too, am looking forward to that.
By which I mean he retires to Mar-a-Lago to paint landscapes like George W. Bush. That's what.
Sure. That's probably what's going to happen.
Okay. So big show today. It's going to be great. But you wanted to start out by talking about the baby boomers. And I have no idea where you're going to go with this, but I'm really curious.
Oh, you don't know why I wanted to talk about this?
No.
Did you not go and look at the comments from the recent TNL?
No, I have not gotten to this. Again, this week I am digging out of like a full 9 days of emails and comments and blah. So I have not gotten to the TNL comments from last week. What did they say?
Okay, so let me just read the top comment, which has 1.3 thousand likes.
Oh, okay? That's a lot of likes for a comment.
It is a lot of likes for a comment. Says, as a 75-year-old woman who has participated in several protests against Trump, I take exception to your fun-making comments about the age and effectiveness of the senior protesters. At least we're showing up and doing all that we can to stop this fascist takeover of our country. And there's 154 replies in which people say, like, yes, I'm 71 and I'm tired of the flip attitude toward older folks. And I was like, what did we say?
First of all, that's Tim. That is not you or me. Tim was like, it's the library lady protests. That was Tim, not us.
It was him. But I went back and watched both places we talked about it. And I was like, my gosh, did I see something mean? Because in my head, I was like, it was meant as a compliment.
They're not throwing bricks through windows. They're showing up and doing like the best possible versions of protests.
Yeah, but I was also, and this is where I want to be very clear, and we're going to do this in the public section of the podcast so that everyone can hear it, which is, I heart boomers who are out on the street. This just happened. On the way down, there were 3 separate pockets of people protesting. Now, they were definitely all boomers. They were exactly as I was describing, but what I was saying things like, I was contrasting Donald Trump and Republicans. The way they talk about protesters is to say, their purple hair and their nose rings, as though like everybody's a freak who's out there protesting. And I was saying, actually, and this happened as I was saying, it's like 70-year-old women in straw hats. And as I was coming down, there was a 70. Well, I mean, I don't know exactly how old she was, but there's a woman of advanced but still spry age, wearing a straw hat, sitting in a folding chair, holding her sign, and men in their Nationals ball caps and T-shirts with their belts and this is not meant to say, that was not meant disparagingly. It's meant deeply affectionately, and also to prove that the way that the Trump folks try to cast the people who are protesting is ridiculous. It's not the women's march, with people wearing sort of, the hats of genitalia, which God bless the women's march. I was never a big fan of the hats. But I am a huge fan of people who turn up and turn out and are holding these signs.
Like the No Kings protests were unbelievably impressive and exactly the type of, it was not disorderly. It did not look like Antifas and stuff like it. Yeah, no, I'm with you. You and I are on the side of the angels. We don't need to protest too much here. If you are a boomer who is offended by Tim Miller,
I think they were offended by me. This was the thing. If it was just Tim, I would let it ride. But I think people thought if people want to disagree with me in the comments, I don't care usually. But when they think they have me wrong or like they've misunderstood my intention, that I do want to respond to.
I was picking up what you were laying down. I was picking up what you were. I got a question for you about protests. So I woke up this morning to see a story from your neighborhood, Occupied Washington. And it was that people have decided to start heckling the militarized presence, which seems to be some combination of National Guard, CPB. I mean, who can tell because they're all dressed like they're SEAL Team 6 now. And the one bon mot, which I saw, was a lady who, in my mind's eye, again, this is just a quote, I didn't see an image, but in my mind's eye, she was a 70-year-old lady in a straw hat, which makes this better. Standing there and just going like full Don Rickles. It's like one of these cosplay guys. Get a hobby, you piece of shit. And I don't know what your feelings are on this, but I could not endorse this mode of protest enough. Heckle them. Heckle them. Just stand there like a stream of like you are Triumph the Insult comic dog and heckle these people. I love that. Get a hobby. Did you ever try therapy? Like, instead of doing this, like, do you need help finding a job? You come to, I'll pay you to do my gardening. I don't know. What does it feel like to work for a guy named a 19-year-old named Big Balls? Like, I feel like heckling is really, maybe this is juvenile on my part.
So I would say, look, I'm not going to scold people for doing what they feel like is the right thing in the moment. I do think it wouldn't be, I'm not sure. I think heckling, I always, I'm going to veer towards what I love is actually what the people are doing. Cause that is part of the reason that everyone's out in force and they're holding signs. And I think that what I want is for nobody to give these guys an excuse. And there's this story, like the big story right now about the enforcement level is that a Department of Justice employee, a guy named Sean Charles Dunn, he was fired and arrested for throwing a sandwich at a federal officer in Washington, D.C.
Subway sandwich, which are the most dangerous forms of it. Sarah, this sort of terrorist act, they're called in many cultures torpedo subs because they are such weapons.
Sure. Well, and you know what? I mean, no shade to Subway, but the bread's not always that soft. So, it probably they let them go a couple days too long, in my opinion. And so it probably hurt.
Was it an armor piercing roll? Was it the shorty roll? Was the armor piercing shorty? I love that the militarized cops now dress in like full body armor. So that they look like they're an extra out of the movie Black Hawk Down. And yet they're so fragile that somebody throwing a sandwich at them. It's assault. Right. Okay, it's assault. Oh no.
You can't throw things at cops. Like you can't. You can't throw things at cops.
Okay.
But
sure.
However, I do, but the guy who threw the sandwich, again, Department of Justice.
American hero.
He's at 14th and U, which is like just where you would go to a bar. Like for people who don't live in DC, this is just sort of not hipster, but it's mainline. I'm hanging out, drinking on a Saturday night, and this is a great part of town to do it in. But the guy said he was yelling at the officers, including calling them fascists, before throwing a Subway sandwich at a CBP agent. He was later quoted as saying, "I did it. I threw a sandwich." But he's been charged with felony assault on a federal officer because they're going to make
Kyle Rittenhouse killed 2 people and went free, but they're going to try to put this guy in jail for throwing a Subway sandwich.
Yeah, there's more. They also, he showed up for his court appearance and then they sent like 20 agents to his house. And so here's the thing. For me, I do not think American hero. I think guy who was drunk at Subway, saw these guys in the street, got super pissed off. And so I can identify with him, but I want to go on the record firmly as saying you cannot ever throw things at cops. Number one. Number two, this is what they want, right? They want to instigate these kinds of things so that they have more of a pretext for cracking down, which is why I think the sort of holding the signs adjacent to them, but not giving them any excuses is just, from a strategic standpoint, the best way to go. Like that's
I think people in DC ought to walk around everybody holding a Subway sandwich and sort of fake throw it. Be like, oh, you're gonna come at me because you have a reasonable expectation that I'm going to use deadly sandwich force at you, tough guy. No, open carry of Subway sandwiches in DC, Sarah.
Yeah, and look, I don't want to get all like Nuremberg-y here about how they're just doing their jobs, but like the individual cops, I have much less of a beef with than I do with the people who sent them there, right? With Donald Trump. And so, again, I don't want to give them a pretext, but here's one of the things about DC geographically and what the cops are doing. Hanging out at 14th and U, I'm not saying there's no crime there. I'm saying like that's not where the crime is. If you think like they're in Georgetown, like what are they doing? They're defending the Georgetown cupcake store or like the Peloton classes or, you know, the Soul Cycle, like whatever. This is where they are is meant to be visible to the people who do national politics because that's where they live, right? And people who work at DOJ. It is not about stopping crime. If they wanted to do that, they would be operating in a completely different way than they are. And they would be going to neighborhoods where they would be trying to talk to the residents and say, hey, you know, where do you feel threatened? Like, where do you feel unsafe? And
it's almost like it has nothing to do with stopping crime.
It is almost like it has nothing to do with stuff. And so it is all performance. It is all about trying to get people like this guy to do things that they can then say, see, like they want them to act like Antifa. And so I just strategically, what I would say to people is don't throw anything through a window. Don't throw anything at the cops. Don't give them any excuses, but show up. Like, do show up to say something.
So this is why large agree. Don't give them pretext, right? Don't throw bricks. Don't throw rocks. Don't throw frozen water bottles. But the reason I say American hero about the guy who threw the sandwich is because there is something so ridiculous about it and so patently not dangerous that I think there's the chance of exposing overreach on the part of the fascists in a way that breaks through to people. Right? Do you see what I'm saying? Like it is because that's how, I mean, if these things work, if protests work, it is often because they make the authoritarians unpopular, and they become unpopular because the authoritarians go like one step too far. Right. They go one without realizing it. They go one step beyond what the populace is willing to accept. In something like, I got hit by a sandwich in my body armor, and so I call that assault. It's fucking ridiculous. It's ridiculous, and I think that has the potential to mean something, right? That has the potential to become a symbol that other people can latch onto, right? They could walk around the city with their Subway sandwiches in their hands and be like, oh, careful there, big guy. I don't want to hurt you with my turkey club.
This is not the right response in this moment.
Okay.
But I do need to say, if we're gonna pick a sandwich shop, it's gonna get a big boom of business. Can it be a different sandwich shop?
Subway, it's the shop of the people. It's the people's shop, Sarah.
Oh, man. Look, I want to be firmly on the record.
Panera? Like, oh, bougie Sarah, it was Panera.
I mean, it could be from Wawa. There's a lot of Wawas down here where you could, but listen, I am not trying to arm people with sandwiches. That is not, I want to be firmly on the record that I'm against throwing things at police officers. I do, however, think that your point about, if you know that Banksy photo, I used to like have this when I went through like a Banksy phase of the guy poised to throw a Molotov cocktail and he's got his face covered in a bandana. Do you know what I'm talking about? There's this.
I don't.
and it's like his arms back. He's going to launch what you would assume is a Molotov cocktail. He looks like a protester. He's got flowers in his hand. Like, what immediately strikes you about that is it takes the posture of somebody ready to be violent and aggressive and arms them with a symbol of peace, and a symbol of, giving somebody something alive.
The Subway 9-inch
beautiful.
Turkey Club is now a symbol of peace, Sarah.
And I think the 9-inch Turkey Club, it's a different version of that, where it does elevate to, like, they're throwing sandwiches doesn't sound that hostile. It does, right? It sounds
right. This is what I'm saying. Didn't even throw it in his face. Just threw it at his gigantic armored chest plate. Like, I'm sorry. If you as a law enforcement officer can't shrug that off, then you should find a different job. Right?
Well, that's just not how this is going to go, because they are going to use everything that happened. Like, they're going to throw the book at this guy and try to make an example out of him. But like, if organically what happened is a bunch of people picked up sandwiches in his stead. But again, I do want to, I am like, I cannot tell you the intensity of the reaction that I have to seeing these people on the streets of Washington, D.C., doing in like the craziest places that have no crime.
I'm so glad to not be living in that fucking city anymore.
It's so disgusting. And yet, I'm worried about people throwing things at cops just because I know that's what they want. And also generally, and these individual cops were deployed here. I mean, maybe they should quit. Like, I'm not
get a different job.
Yeah. I mean, part of what's happening is that it's even getting harder for me I've always been like more pro than anti-cop. I want police to be professional. Like, they help people, and I want them to continue to help people. Of course they do.
Okay.
Of course they do. And I'll
let you know the next time I see a police officer helping someone.
You've never been helped by a police officer?
Never once in my life.
Oh my God, I have.
I've been hassled by police officers.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I guess I've gotten speeding tickets but I don't know, man. You never like crashed a car and had police there to help you. Okay, well, I did. Or like get locked out of your apartment and have a cop kick in the door to help you out.
Nope.
I did. I don't know. And like, I grew up in such a small place that I knew the police officers. Like, I knew them, I knew their families. And so I don't have, I do have an inherent distrust of authority. But I also don't like reflexively dislike police officers. I do, however, think that the deference that I might have given to the types of people who are on the streets of Washington, D.C. has been shifting somewhat as you see the kinds of people that Trump is actively recruiting to do these jobs. And I think anybody who covers their face is not acting professionally as to then give people, like, to instill in people then the reciprocal professional courtesy that one should give police officers and just each other. Like, a part of it is me just being like, I don't like it when people are awful to each other, right? I want people to be decent to each other.
Sure.
But yeah, like, you can't cover your faces and then expect people to treat you like you are part of the civic force that is meant to be like, I'm with
Sarah,
you.
They
I'm
don't
one of
want
you.
to be treated like a civic force. They want to be treated like they're in charge.
Yeah.
They are not there to be co-citizens upholding law and order. They are there to lord over the people. That's what these guys are there for.
That is what Donald Trump wants them to do.
Anybody who covers their faces as an agent of the state is not there to be a member of the public or to protect the public. They're there to subjugate the public.
I do think that's what's happening right now. Although I don't know that it's like, it's weird what they're doing here. There's like checkpoints
Good God.
It's like there was one the other night. I was out with friends, and one of them, like on the way home, was like, "There's the checkpoint on." I can't remember if it was Capitol Hill, but that kind of stuff is bizarre. I've always hated checkpoints, sobriety or otherwise. Like they are not. They're not constitutional. Number one, like it's a legal search and seizure. Not that they take stuff out, but like you can't just like set up a checkpoint and be like, show me your papers, because you want to catch.
You sure as hell can.
Like, I mean, yeah. Well, this is where, okay. We can have a longer conversation about why I've always opposed sobriety checkpoints. And that the fact that we've gotten used to them as a country has now, like, we should never have had checkpoints anywhere. The only time you should put up checkpoints is if there's a bolo out for a murderer, and you
Dr.
think
Richard Kimball has gotten out from the prison train, and we've got to set up a 5-mile perimeter to see if we can get him. Yeah. All right. We got to talk about conservatism now.
Yeah, let's do it.
And this is going to be a thing which I think is not quite a niche subject, but, you know, if you guys want to hear us go very, very deep on the true nature of conservatism and whether or not it was always inevitable that conservatism would wind up where Donald Trump is, then you're going to have to come and join up. So come and subscribe, be part of Bulwark Plus. We'd love to have you.